I was a little boy, about 12 years old. I was in the movie. I would go to the movie, the Rexx Theater in Durham, North Carolina, and I saw all the cowboys. Mostly that I saw was white cowboys, and I really enjoyed them. They were what you call a star, and we loved those guys. But one day, showed up on the screen, black cowboys, Herb Jeffers, the first and only black Hollywood cowboy singing cowboy. And he used to sing with Duke Ellington Band. And when I saw all these black cowboys, I said, then I can be a cowboy. I wanted to be a cowboy as a little boy, but when I was a white cowboy, I was singing the black cowboys. So when Herb Jeffers, just preview came up, I looked up there, I said, black cowboys, I can be a cowboy now. So that's when I got involved by Herb Jeffers, and I did meet Herb Jeffers before he passed away. He passed away about 8 years ago. He was 100 years old. They did a story on Gene Orchard at Gene Orchard Museum on Herb Jeffers. They had all of the last of the singing cowboys there. Peter Jennings, the News, I did a story, and it went nationwide. Matter of fact, I have the videotape at home now of this story where I first met Herb Jeffers in Hollywood at Gene Orchard Museum. If you don't practice forever, you'll never learn these tricks. I'm gonna do this is when I first started. I'm gonna do a couple of little tricks. This is called a zigzag. This is the butterfly. Each one of these tricks right here take from 3 months to a year to learn. Of course, I stand on the horse and do all these tricks right here. That's the old drunken preacher, we call that, because he's trying to get back up. He's doing the zigzag. Then we go back into the butterfly, and that's a roll over the arm. Okay, it takes years and years of practice, which I've been practicing all my life, doing these tricks. These boots were specially made for me, and I have about 50 or 60 pair. This is a belt here that I used in the shows years ago. A belt like this can cost, like the one I have on, can cost $10,000 to $15,000. This is sterling silver. This one is not sterling silver, but I used this back in the days when I first started. Trousers like this had to be custom made. You could not buy them in the store. You had to have them custom made by a tailor. Okay? Shirts. We'll go over here. This is a trick. My horse is specially trained. I train all my horses myself. I use special silver saddles. Silver saddles can cost you from $10,000 to $100,000. Sterling silver saddles. This is a trick right here that I jump through the loop, standing on the horse and balance myself and make a horse catch when a rider comes through. This is right here is when I was in the parade with the Warriors, and that's George Brick sitting there. This is the horse with the parade.
So how did your horse react in that crowd?
No, I trained him. He was used to being a show. He's a show horse, so he's specially trained for all kinds of noises. I train him for gunshots, all kinds of music before I take him out. And they're used to that. If you take a horse that wasn't used to that, no telling what he might do in that crowd. This is out in Hollywood, California. This is when they did the story on the first black singing cowboy, who's Herb Jeffers. They honored him along with the other famous singing cowboys who were still living. So this is Herb Jeffers. He used to sing with Duke Ellington way back in the 30s and 40s. He was the only and first singing Hollywood cowboy. He just died about 8 years ago. He was 100 years old. This is Gene Orchard, a favorite cowboy when I was a little boy. One of the most richest Hollywood cowboys ever. This right here is at the Will Rogers Expo, where a lot of guys come from England all over the world and participate in roping and whip tricks. By the way, I train all my horses myself. I'm a whip expert where I cut cigarettes out of people's mouth with the ashes off and cut things off the top of my head and out of my mouth before I do the performance on a person. This is when I was with the Worlds of Fun every weekend, about 15, 20 years ago. I have traveled with the Bill Pickett Rodeo for years. And this picture, where is it? Oh, that's with the first Universal Soul Circus in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's been a long time ago. But I still practice my rope tricks at home, get my exercise. I go out and see. I was just out seeing my horse yesterday. I keep them trained up. And, well, I've been on the Flip Wilson show out in Hollywood, California. I've been on a few movies as an extra. Well, the photography come later when I was in the Air Force. I experienced a lot of things in my life. When I was 18 years old, I was in the Air Force. I was a military policeman when I was 18 years old. And when I got out of the Air Force, I decided I wanted to be something, but it was kind of hard to decide on because when I was coming along, all we could do was be a teacher, and what else? A teacher and a post office. I didn't want to be none of those, so I happened to be coming from North Carolina Central University, and during walking down the street one day, and I saw a guy putting up some pictures, and I went over and asked the guy, I said, I need to talk to somebody. I might want to be a photographer on the job training if the man would take me. And the man, he said, yeah, I'll take you. And that's when I got involved in photography. I was a mixture in between performing and doing my photography. And I put the cowboy thing ahead of my photography. But I did do well in both. Because sometimes I would be in town this week and next week I'll be somewhere doing a cowboy show and be back making pictures. Nobody never knew I've been gone. I remember one day I pulled up in front of a church to do a wedding. And I had the horse in the trailer, and I just left Kansas City, Kansas for the Mexican people doing a cowboy show for them. And I had my dressing room, I got in there and changed, put my necktie. I said, now, I thought to myself, I said, if I walk in this church and somebody could win, a lot of them, they had a contest, said, what was this guy doing before he walked in this church? Nobody, unless they never would have known I was out there twirling a rope and jumping through a rope and doing tricks with your horse.
Purefoy gave us this gorgeous shirt that I am just so impressed with. And we take very seriously how we preserve these materials because regular cloth can be damaged in many ways. It can be faded, it can be torn. So anything like this, we would put in an acid-free box, padded with acid-free tissue paper, so that it stays good. And we don't ever put metal things like that belt in a fabric box. They're all as separate as we can do it. Sometimes you just can't help that. But a lot of thought goes into what boxes you're going to use, what paper you're going to use. It's all very expensive, just like his famous, all his beautiful decor that he's purchased for himself over the years. But we enjoy doing it like this, and we enjoy being able to show people this. This is the treat. Even if we don't have it on display, we do private showings, and that's always really great. So, as far as researching material, we have a huge collection of books, 1,600 books specifically about Black history and Black people. But I know for a fact that we have 5 or 6 books in there that are about the Black West and about cowboys and the shows the Wild West shows they put on. So it's a start. It's a start for someone wanting to know more about it, and just having learned that there were black cowboys as well as white, and a big proportion of them were black. So it's wonderful diversity acquisition, because it's not like anything else in the collection, and we'll be able to show people it over the years. So thank you.
But thank you.